So once Donald Trump is indicted, let's just take that in for a minute. Once indicted, what challenges lie ahead on the jury selection front? Let's talk about that, because justice matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So once indicted, can Donald Trump get a fair trial? An equally important question is, can we the people get a fair trial? And I know you're thinking, once indicted, isn't that a pretty big hurdle to overcome? It is. But the Department of Justice and Attorney General Merrick Garland told us that they will follow the facts and follow the law wherever they lead. Donald Trump committed crimes. The facts and the law prove that. Beyond all doubt, I would contend. So let's take the Department of Justice at its word. It will follow the facts, it will follow the law, and it will indict Donald Trump. Because frankly, if DOJ fails to indict Donald Trump, then they're not basing their decision on the facts and the law. They're basing it on something else. And that something else can only be a political decision. And friends, let me tell you, there are too many good people, honorable people, ethical people, people who take deadly seriously their oath to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Too many good people at the Department of Justice to let Donald Trump go uncharged for his crimes. He will be indicted. So then let's turn to the question of jury selection. You know, I've always said that you can't win a case in jury selection, but you can sure lose it. But let me say this up front. I do believe we can impanel a fair and impartial jury to try Donald Trump for his crimes. Let's take a look at the example of Paul Manafort's criminal trial. This from the Washington Post back in 2018, nearly 4 years ago now. Time flies when you're fighting to save democracy. Here's the headline: How a Trump-supporting juror in the Manafort trial was a beacon of justice. One of the jurors from the trial of Paul Manafort has described herself as a strong supporter of President Trump. She said she drove every day to the Alexandria courthouse where Mr. Trump's former campaign chairman was being tried, with her Make America Great Again cap in the back seat, and that she planned to vote again for Mr. Trump if he runs for re-election in 2020. She said she thought prosecutors had targeted Mr. Manafort as a way to get dirt on Mr. Trump, and that she didn't want Mr. Manafort to be guilty. Nonetheless, she voted to convict him because the evidence of his guilt was overwhelming. And that, friends, is an important example of how jury service is supposed to work. You know, in big, lengthy, complex trials, jury selection can be a very lengthy, involved process. I prosecuted a number of lengthy RICO trials. And in those cases, when we were going through jury selection, we would have the prospective jurors fill out a questionnaire that ran about 120 questions. And after they filled them out, we would talk individually with each juror, asking them about their answers to those questions, asking follow-up questions as appropriate, all with a view toward trying to decide if each person can sit fairly and independently as a juror, whether each potential juror could set aside their own preconceived notions, their own ideological or political beliefs, and decide the case based only on the evidence they saw introduced during the trial itself. So during that process of individual voir dire, individual questioning of potential jurors, in my experience, the overwhelming majority of them are honest and they're candid, they're forthright, they're straightforward. And in fact, you know how many times I've had a potential juror say something like, Your Honor, I can't sit in this case. I can't be a fair, impartial juror for the following reason. And sometimes they were being honest about that. Sometimes, sure, they were just trying to get out of jury duty. But a judge could dismiss a juror like that. But on those rare occasions when there's a juror who maybe is trying to pull a fast one on the parties, the prosecution and the defense, and the judge, and they're being deceptive and they're being evasive, and maybe we have a sense that they're trying to get on the jury for an improper purpose, we're pretty good at sniffing that out. And the judge will have the opportunity to dismiss that kind of a juror who's being evasive, who's not being candid, not being honest or forthright in their answers to questions. And even more importantly, in this day and age of everybody seeming to have a social media footprint, if there's a juror like that who's trying to nefariously sneak on to the jury, they're probably going to have a pretty significant social media presence or footprint. So, the parties may very well be able to figure out what that person is about one way or another and prevent somebody from sneaking on to a jury for ideological reasons or political reasons or any reason other than the desire to serve as a fair and independent juror in a case. So yes, I believe we can impanel a fair and impartial jury to try Donald Trump for his many crimes. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but since when is justice ever easy? But the challenges that come with jury selection are almost beside the point. I always told the prosecutors that I supervised that it's more important to try cases than to win cases. And Donald Trump, more so than any high government official perhaps in the history of our country, needs to be tried for his crimes. And his guilt or innocence should be judged by 12 citizens sitting in that jury box as the conscience of the community. Donald Trump didn't give us a fair trial. When he was running for president in 2016, he committed campaign finance crimes in a conspiracy with Michael Cohen to bury deeply damaging information about him and about the quality of his candidacy, bury that information from the voters, thereby robbing the voters of the full value of their vote. So Donald Trump didn't give us a fair trial when he expressly enlisted the assistance of Russia to help him steal the election. No, Donald Trump didn't give us a fair trial. But we're going to give him one. Because justice matters. Friends, as always, thank you for tuning in to these daily videos. As you may know, here at Justice Matters, we're an all-volunteer operation, posting a legal analysis video every day, 7 days a week. If you would like to more formally support our efforts, our content, our mission, if you'd like to become a member of Team Justice proper, please feel free to come on over to patreon.com. You can sign up to become a patron. And if you do, I'll send you some Team Justice and Justice Matters stickers, a personal note of thanks, and you'll get access to all sorts of behind-the-scenes stuff about how we operate here at Justice Matters. And thank you to the many of you who have come over to patreon.com and are supporting our efforts. And as always, folks, please stay safe. Please stay tuned. And I look forward to talking with you all again tomorrow.